Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my cheerful co-host,
Rebekah.
And today we're talking about Survivor 48, episode 8. And Rebekah, is it just me, or does it seem like we still haven't had a regular merge episode yet?
Yeah, it is interesting how they are very keen to just constantly be dividing up the merged tribe and being like, oh, this group, you're all the losers. You might lose your vote. This group, nothing. And this group, you're the winners. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I agree with you. It seems like we haven't gotten a merged episode yet.
God forbid we just have regular merge. It's the 3rd episode of the merge, and yet we still have yet to have just everyone goes to immunity, somebody wins it, we go back to camp, everyone gets to talk, we then go to tribal. Nope. Gotta do something every episode, gotta split up into 2s, whatever. You know what? We gotta talk about the Survivor 50 voting that is occurring this week.
Yep.
One of them is talking about twists, and you better believe that, spoiler alert, shocker, vote however you want, but if you are on the fence, I encourage you to vote for rare twist. By the way, it didn't say no twist, Rebekah. I said rare twist.
Yeah, the phrasing on this question is very vague for both of them, to be honest, which...
Of course, as always.
Yeah, not super surprising.
God forbid it says yes or no.
Yeah, there's no way that they would let us decide to have no twists in a season. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I would like fewer twists. Like, just put a bunch of people on a beach, let them talk, and that's Survivor, you know? That's what I'm here for.
I want to see people I already know interact with each other and play the game. Is that too much to ask? Anyways, so spoiler on that vote. The other 2 we'll talk about. I mean, we're talking about all of them when we get to that section of the podcast. A couple things to note here is that we are considering what to do in the off season, Rebekah and I. One of these is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Survivor Edition. I know I did this years ago with Mary, and they're all unlisted now. They're not deleted. You can find them in our podcast playlist, but they're unlisted. That was like very early podcast.
In the archives.
Yeah, in the archives. So if you really want to see what it was, but the new one I'm proposing is Rebekah and I will record Who Wants to Be a Millionaire once a month, and you all can play along through a Google form as it premieres live here on YouTube. It'll be edited with music and everything, so it's, you know, it's not gonna be a live like us going like I'll edit it tighter for that reason.
Yes.
But anyways, so I propose that I'm gonna put a poll up on YouTube and Patreon for whether you guys are interested in that, because I am I'm not committing to anything. I'm just seeing if you're interested. The other one is Survivor Australia versus the World, Australian Survivor versus the World, whatever the official name is going to premiere June 22nd. It does have Parvati, Suri, and Tony on it. As always, when Australian Survivor season happens, people message me, hey, you should do Australian Survivor. And I'm like, hey, there is not enough interest in me in myself to make videos about it. But also, like, anybody else who makes Australian Survivor videos tends to stop doing it on YouTube because there's just not enough views. It's not financially viable. However, I do understand there are American Survivor players on it, hence why I said their names, because that's the whole selling point of me watching it. So I am going to watch it. Am I going to podcast it is a great question. That will be a poll on Patreon for all paid patrons on Thursday. So please vote on that. That will give me, again, interest on it. I'm not committing to doing it, but I really need to know what the interest level is. So anyways, just want to throw that out there because I am being asked about it right now. This is the podcast I'll referring people to if they ask me about it in the future.
There you go.
But anyways, so I'll have polls up on YouTube, Patreon, just to get general interest on these 2 podcasting ideas in the off season. All right. So Rebekah, let's talk about this episode because outside of the in my opinion, very predictable boot, I put votes on Chrissy on Fantasy. Did you?
You know, I actually don't know if I did. I think I might have put like 1 or 2 on her, but I think I also put some on Star and maybe even on Mary or somebody. So yeah, I'm not sure. But yes, like once the episode started, it was so obvious it was going to be Chrissy tonight.
Like when Chrissy was voted off in that clean sweep, I went boring. Like what a bore. I understand not every vote can be exciting, but the fact they presented Kamilla as an option or Shauhin as an option, I was like,
there was so much talk about other people. And then it was like, oh, actually everyone was just united against Chrissy, which is again kind of why this still weirdly doesn't feel like a merged episode like you were talking about.
No,
because it's like we don't have the alliance lines drawn yet. Like that's what I am looking for in a merge situation. And right now it's just as much as everyone's arguing and, whatever, like being paranoid, it's still, we're all voting together. So I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like a merged episode yet.
Yeah, I know. It's nonsense, all these twists, man. That's why we're voting rare. Whatever the least amount of twists are, it's what we're voting for. I know a lot of comments, Rebekah. So last season, you remember, like we went so far off the deep end with theories. People were complaining about them. The only one I have this season, I'm going to bring it up because people keep saying, where's the theories? There's only one. It's the only one that really matters. It's that Joe is at the end of the preview for 48, just like Jam and Mackenzie were at the preview for their seasons. And those are the seasons where they already know who won. Joe is going to win. There's your theory, because he's at the end of the 48 preview that they put in the finale of 47. The show made that. It wasn't like a TV promo or nothing, The show made it. Joe's going to win. We already know this. Everyone's put him at number one. It's unfortunate because David's at number one in our hearts. We were all nodding our head vertically when David was getting to the end of the immunity challenge. We all shook our heads, horizontally left to right when he lost immunity. That was very sad for all of us. Number one in our hearts, but Joe's going to win. I mean, just throwing it out there, like, that's your theory. That's your theory. I'm so crazy about it. Ooh, I'm so crazy, Rebekah. Oh, let me go on about it. Joe's going to win. Have you seen the preview for 44, 46, and 48? Tells you who the winner is going to be. All right, there you go. There's your craziness. I just it's not worth talking about endlessly because people get annoyed. And then I get comments like, well, one person literally this week, Rebekah, said, why don't you talk about more theories this season? I'm like, well, I only have one. It's the one about Joe. And they're like, well, last season you couldn't shut up about him. Every 10 minutes you would say it was so annoying. And I'm like, the same person just complained I didn't have enough theories. I respond to it with I have one theory, and they said, well, last season you annoyed me with all your theories, but they asked for more and then immediately complained that I did too much. The duality of man was in that one person comment.
Well, here's my thought is maybe they're just annoyed by you. And then my follow-up question is, why are they listening to this podcast? Respectfully.
I was working on Liza Orland's story video this week. That will be on Patreon here soon. Patrons pick that one. Her story video for Micronesia. And she gets to the merge and she's like, people know I'm right. They just think I'm annoying. And I'm like, I can relate. I'm aware. I've been trying to tone down the annoyingness. I'm aware. All right. Yeah. I got it.
Well,
I heard.
If I could say one other thing too about theories is that I think that this season in particular, they've really gotten to a point where they've gotten rid of so many theories and they're continuing to get rid of theories. Even the whole thing about if anyone was skunked and didn't have any confessionals in an episode up to this point, even as far as last season, that was a deal breaker. That's how we knew Genevieve wasn't going to win.
What about Genevieve?
But this season, but this season, even though Joe has an episode where he didn't get any confessionals, it's still so obvious that he's going to win. And so when he wins the season, or if, I guess, but when he wins the season. Yep. Then that theory is also out the door. So, I mean, I think it's actually really great that they're getting rid of all of the super obvious giveaways. Because it just keeps us as the viewers on our toes. It's less predictable. I'm here for it.
Even this episode that we watched tonight, who is Chrissy, right? Chrissy, all we're being presented with is that she's from Chicago. We knew nothing about her. And then all of a sudden she's like, Joe needs to go. And then she goes in the most lopsided votes we've seen since Kyle and 47 getting voted off. It was so obvious that Chrissy was getting voted off when Kyle got voted off. And it's all because she went against Joe. That's how it's presented. She's going against a strong alliance, but namely Joe and Eva, she said. It was really Joe. And it's okay, because Joe's winning and they want you to root for Joe. And how dare Chrissy go for Joe? Joe's like, Kamilla next time, Chrissy this time.
Yep.
Joe's going to win. It's so obvious. Joe's going to win. All right. So with that in mind, God forbid we have a regular merge up. So we talked about that. Okay. Shauhin says the last tribal was the sketchiest for sure, and he's sus of Mary. There's all of a sudden a lot of suspicion on Mary because she's closer to David. I know that wasn't a secret scene this season, but it hasn't really been presented in the edited show scene. I'm
about that. Yeah.
When did they get close on the show? When did that happen?
Yeah, because I mean, I think they had a couple conversations last week, but yeah, that really came out of nowhere for me, and I was wondering if I was just forgetting something, but yeah, I was surprised by that as well.
Yeah, Okay, I guess they're close. Cool. I mean, that just it goes to show, it further shows that Dave's not going to win, because if he was going to win, that would have been established earlier. We would have seen something, and it wouldn't have been a secret scene. That's why it's like, okay, these people, like, David can't win. It's unfortunate. David's number one in all of our hearts. We're all nodding our head vertically. When I go to bed, okay, I go to bed, I cuddle with Mary, and in my brain, I'm like, yeah, but like, what if Joe and I were watching Notting Hill and drinking milk right now and just broing out to Notting Hill as I'm holding my wife?
You and David?
What did I say?
You said Joe.
I mean, if Joe wants to join, I'm not anti it.
Sure.
Yeah. We can
all bro.
Yeah, we can all bro out and drink milk and watch Notting Hill. Yeah. And Rebekah's like, this is an absurd situation. How did we end up in it? I don't know. Okay. But you know, as I go to sleep, I have these nice number one in my heart thoughts about David. You know, guard my heart is what some people say, but in this case, I let David in. David, you can come in. No, but for real, Dave's not winning. And it's stuff like this that tells us that, when it's like, okay, where did this connection to Mary come from? Out of left field's the answer. We have 90-minute episodes and we still can't establish basic things, but we could spend 20 minutes, and I know it's an exaggeration, but sure felt like it, 20 minutes on the stupid ball journey challenge. That was so long. What are we doing here? That was so long. Took us so much of the episode. We could have been doing actual interesting things. When they got back to camp and people were talking about who to vote off, even though it ended up being Chrissy in a very predictable fashion, that conversation was fascinating. There's a lot being revealed. People were realizing things. That was interesting. Watching people put balls into tubes and having them explain to us, over explaining it to us, was like, this is garbage. This is boring. This is terrible. Like, I'd rather they go on the journey and do the ship wheel where they decide whether to save their vote or not. Like that, at least that was simple and it got it over with quick. This is forever. Shoot me now. Take me back and shoot me. That's what it felt like watching that, dude. Ugh. Is it just me?
I would much rather. No, I fully agree with you. It was pretty boring. It was just kind of like, all right, we're just watching people do math, basically.
Yeah. Exactly.
And maybe some people enjoy that. I am not one of those people. But yeah, let's go back to the one where it's like yanking the puzzle off of the,
at least that
the floating thing into the ocean, you know?
Right.
Yeah. That was at least funny to watch. It was like somebody could have lost a limb. That's actual danger, right?
Yeah, when Jeff said that the game is dangerous, that was a moment where actually like, no, this is actually a little bit dangerous. Because what if Rachel was reaching in and like grabbing a ball as it was being yanked off the platform and she gets yanked into the ocean with the platform? That is dangerous.
Yeah.
This is the complete opposite of dangerous. This is boring. And then Jeff did an interview this week, as he does every week, I believe, with Dalton Ross, and says that he knows that physical challenges make for good TV. He just doesn't want to do them. And I'm like, really? That's the best reason you come up with? It's not that you're afraid of injuries or your insurance company told you to stop it. Nothing like that. No, just that it's not my idea. Therefore, I don't want to do it, is what it sounded like to me when I read that. I'm like, because it's not Jeff's idea. He doesn't want to do it. You know, like,
listen, Jeff, at the end of the day, Jeff wants a short commute and just like
short immunity challenges. God forbid you're on the pole for more than 5 minutes. No, so there's no lapse time. He only wants
to be in Fiji, beautiful Fiji, for as short of a period of time as possible. Let's get out of here like as fast as possible.
Jeff's like, I'm nearing retirement age. I need to get out of here. Okay. This is my senior year of high school. I'm done. I'm checked out. That's Jeff right now.
Oh, you're so right. Jeff has senioritis.
He has senioritis,
that's what it is.
Dude, literally on multiple levels.
You're so right. That's so funny.
Everyone remembers if you're a teenager, you haven't quite reached senior year. Let me tell you, senioritis sounds like a disease, but it's actually amazing. It's one of those few times in life where you're like, I literally don't care about what happens. Yeah. And it's also okay to not care. Like everyone gets it. Like everyone can understand you not caring. It's one of those rare times where like everyone's in unison understanding. Everyone's nodding their head vertically to your senioritis. That last semester of senior year, dude, golden. Best time to have senioritis. It really is. I'm like, sometimes I wish I could just have senioritis. And I'm
I think a little bit of nihilism is good for everybody. So
yeah. Anyways, so Jeff might be having senioritis, what we're saying. But hopefully this is a multi-layered joke.
For season 50. I feel like for season 50, I'm hoping he'll snap out of it a little bit because it's going to be, his friends, his buddies hanging out on the island. And
because apparently the cast that he's trying to put together, is getting sniped by CBS. So we'll see how many of his buddies are out there. But is Boston Rob out there? No. Oh, okay.
No.
The other day I watched a video, by the way, Jeff, I understand, completely loves the show. And like, I don't agree with all of his creative choices. He clearly loves it. We're joking about his senioritis. Though at the same time, he doesn't seem too concerned about having these challenges last more than 5 minutes as well. So there's definitely multiple layers. But yes, he did an interview the other day where he named the first 20 winners of Survivor. He couldn't name Brian Heidick, season 5 winner. But when he got to season 8, he was like, he's like, oh yeah, Boston Rob. And then he said Amber. Like he started with his boyfriend, and that's how he landed on who the winner of season 8 was. And like, of course,
funny.
Of course. He's like, oh yeah,
Poor
Boston
Amber.
Rob. Yeah, Boston Rob. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Boston Rob season.
Boston Rob. I'm actually surprised he stopped at 20 so that he couldn't go to 22 and say Boston Rob again.
Yeah. That's surprising.
I think
Dang.
It's crazy. Like watching him, like you think he'd be able to rattle these off. Not because like I think like Jeff rewatches season, but like just because he was there. And I feel like if anyone should know the line of winners, especially after doing Winners at War, and I assume casting for 50, they looked at all the winners. Like, how does he not know all the winners? Not like it, like the fact that he struggled with 5 is like, is this a joke? Are you pretending not to know the season 5 winner? Come on now.
Well, I don't know. Like, yeah, because like you were saying, I'm sure for casting Winners at War and maybe for 50 as well, that would be a good refresher. But like, I don't remember things that happened 20 years ago. Like,
but Jeff was there, Rebekah.
Yeah, I know, but like life. He's done this so many times. Like if you had filmed 48 seasons of the same show, I don't know. I mean, I know you would probably remember, but I'm just saying I don't know if I would remember.
Yeah, I think it's part of his senioritis. I think he's starting to forget things. But
yeah, that's fair.
He's also, I don't know, he's just doing promotional stuff for Survivor. Who knows where he was at that moment. Point being is we probably should talk about this episode because let me tell you, it was
oh yeah, we're here to talk about Survivor.
So amazing, and it wasn't predictable at all. All right,
very exciting.
Rebekah, who's the largest animal you think you could beat with your bare hands?
Okay, this is a great question, and I've actually had this conversation with my friends
more
before.
Times than you care to admit. Yep.
Yes. Here's the thing, like, I really think that I could take like. I definitely think I could take like a raccoon. I know they have claws, but I think I could take them. Maybe even something as big as like, I don't know, like a badger or something like that. It's the claws that get you. Like, I guess my question is like, am I armed at all in this scenario, or we're just talking with my bare hands?
I think the point of this scene is that it's all about Joe. And while Kyle does get to answer as well, it's really a Joe focused scene because I was waiting like to hear David's answer because those massive muscles, like what does he think he could beat? I'm sure he answered the question, but it was so focused on Joe, we didn't have time for David because Joe's winning. It kind of reminds me of Tony on Winners at War, where we'd have like these random scenes in the very limited time they had that season, because God forbid they had any time for Camp Life with all the twists in 42-minute episodes and Edge of Extinction. But they'd like take time to like show a goofy Tony scene. And like, this reminds me of one of those scenes where it's like, we're taking unnecessary time in the show to show a character moment from our future winner because you should like them.
Yeah.
Joe
I mean,
go ahead.
This is not the first time this has happened either. I mean, like, to your point, what was it, last week or the week before, that we got everyone together in the quote unquote merged tribe and everyone's like going to go around and talk about themselves. And we hear from Eva, and then it cuts to a conversation with Eva and Joe, and we don't hear from anybody else. Yeah. It's just stuff like that where it's like, these are the people we're supposed to be focusing on. And
if it's not Joe, it's Shauhin. Like, it's so clear cut. Mary is going to have to convince me of something else tomorrow when we do our winter analysis podcast, because I'm like, tonight, I'm like, I was already pretty solid on Joe, but tonight I'm like set in stone. I'm like, this whole episode is about getting rid of the person going for Joe. That's what this episode was. That's how it was presented. The story presented that way. This is why the real merge is so important. Like it was hard to tell because we hadn't had a proper merge episode until this week. And even this week wasn't proper, but it was more proper in the sense of one person had immunity, everybody was available to vote, and it was an actual merge episode, you know. Like, sure, the merge story, I guess, is kind of that way, but I don't know. Last week should have been a regular merge episode too, but it wasn't. So it really reveals a lot when the story's like, okay, we only have this group of people to focus on, and the more people we lose, and we're still spending all this time on Joe when there theoretically could be more time for other people. Like, sure, Mitch is like feeling on the outs, but like, what was Star up to this episode? I have no idea.
Dude, yeah, I forgot. Like, I was actually like checking the wiki at about this point in the episode because I was like, wait, Star didn't get voted out last week, right? Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, no, like I think when we got to the challenge, I was like, oh, okay, good. She's still here.
I can't believe we've been sitting here podcasting for 10 hours. And I think 9 hours and 45 minutes of that is just us complaining like old men about how things used to be, you know?
The good old days.
The good old days. Survivor's always had issues. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's ever been perfect, but it's just like, I'm just so tired of seeing the same. I mean, you guys hear it. Every time we get to this part of every season, I'm just like, but like, why can't we just like have like a normal merge episode? Is that too much to ask? Yes, the answer is, but
yeah.
Why? Why is it too much to ask?
Few twists. Everybody vote for
rare
few twists.
What did we vote on a few weeks ago where we said limited? What was that?
Limited advantages?
Was it limited advantages? Oh,
it was something like that. I need to check my notes. But
God
yeah,
forbid it's a yes or no question to anything.
I know. Yeah, also a very vague set of options that we had last time.
He said we're going to vote for idols or no idols, and that question has not come up yet. Is that going to be next time? Is that going to be, because we have one more round of voting after this one. Are we finally going to get the question that he said we'd be able to answer, which is idols or no idols? Or have they seen the results of the questions? They're like, nope, that's not on the table.
Yeah.
Got to keep it vague. Got to keep it vague. Just like, yeah, it's so rare when we only have one twist or advantage every episode. That's rare for me. Jeff's like eating a steak well done. He's like, this is so rare. Look how rare this steak is. It's like well done. You can't see any pink, nothing. It's just like brown all the way through. Jeff's like, wow, this is so rare. I see what you guys meant when you wanted rare.
Oh my goodness.
That would be Jeff like gaslighting all of us. Wow, it's so rare.
Survivor would never gaslight us.
It's so rare to have one journey an episode when we should be having 3. It's so rare. Oh, brother. Man. All right, so everyone's divided into twos, and again, it becomes down to Joe analyzing who's picking who. It's all about Joe. Joe. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Rebekah?
Oh, I was just gonna say I looked at my notes for the votes. It was for advantages. It was minimal power, strategic power, or dynamic power. Oh my! Were our options?
Gosh! All right.
So hopefully everyone voted.
I'm so sorry for those who don't want to hear complaining. I know this is probably the only podcast all season I've complained to this. Usually I try to keep my complaint to a rare, to a, what was the wording? Minimal? Is that what you said?
Yes.
For the event?
Yeah,
yes.
minimal. Yep.
This episode, I think I'm doing more of a strategic dynamic amount of complaining, as Jeff would call it.
Well, it depends on how much you cut out, because we have been recording for about like 13 hours now. So, I mean, if you wanted to cut some down, I guess you probably could.
Probably could. We're already at 13 hours. It's probably been more dynamic amount of, whatever that means, a dynamic amount of complaining, a strategic dynamic amount, somewhere in between those two, but definitely whatever that means. All right. So Mitch feels on the outs. Kyle feels in the middle. We had the immunity challenge. I'm just going to help you out here, Rebekah. Who cares? Mm-hmm. It ends up being 4 people. Like we've seen this before too. 4 people have to go play Jenga. Well, last season it was Jenga. This season it's whatever this math game is. 4 people are going to be at the bottom. They got to go play that. 2 people get to go back to camp and go look for an idol. And then the other 4 get to eat tacos. Thankfully, I will say the tacos, I don't know why they weren't at the sanctuary, but they got to eat tacos and I eat one dry hot dog at the sanctuary. So that is an improvement. It wasn't one dry hot dog.
I think they also got chocolate cupcakes, but I didn't see any milk. And I was kind of offended on your behalf, and I'm surprised you didn't.
And the fact that the tribe is named after milk, as we saw in a secret scene, is like, why was that? Oh, but we have time for 30 minutes of talk. And like, even Shauhin's like, we don't even have time to do the flag because Jeff's like, go. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you. When's the time where we just get some downtime, right? When's the time where we can just sit around and bond with each other? On Survivor. I was promised a
vacation in Fiji.
I was promised a 39-day game and I got stuck playing 26.
It's like what Chrissy was saying tonight. Like, well, David was like, oh, what did she say? She was like saying like, oh, I'm like mad that I'm on this season, basically. That's like, yeah. David's like, you should have played one of the older seasons.
There's Star the same thing. Like they make it harder every season. Like everyone like in their most appropriate way that they are allowed to complain are complaining about Survivor on Survivor, and the editors left it in, and it just tells me the editors are like, how much can we slip past Jeff? Because I'm sure Jeff watches all these episodes and approves it before they go on the air.
Something else I will say, and I don't know, like this is a very minimal thing, but I do feel like Shauhin has been one of the few like voices that we've heard multiple times talking about like how exciting and how dangerous Survivor is. Like I think he even made a comment. It's just like little comments here and there, but I think he made one during the immunity challenge this week of like, how dangerous it was that one of them might lose their vote or something like that. And so like part of me does wonder is like, is the positive edit that we're getting from Shauhin just because like he's so positive about the show to some extent?
Like Bonu got before Bonnie went nutso?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is this more of just the show likes him because he's like hyping up the same talking points that Jeff has been saying? Or is it because he's, potentially a winner? And I don't know. I do think he makes it far in the game. Like, I don't think they would give him this full edit just because he likes Survivor.
He's making it to episode 9, so he's made it more than halfway.
And he's a great player too. I don't mean to like downplay his strategy or anything, but I'm just saying like in terms of the edit, I do wonder how much of that is a factor.
It's a good point.
So,
it's actually a really good point. I don't know. But I will say that if you ever get cast Survivor, those listening, because apparently we have Survivor players listen, we have people who listen and then go on the show. We always throw little pro tips out there. One of them is if you want airtime, suck up to the sponsor. If there's a sponsor of the episode, like make it your entire personality. See Liz for
Have
Applebee's.
A meltdown.
Yep. Have a meltdown if you don't get what you want, like a child. That's a joke, by the way. Liz having that meltdown was excellent television. I'm not like, but it
so good.
Was a bit like a child would melt down. Yeah. Anyways, suck up to the sponsor, but also suck up to the show that you're on and say how amazing it is. And if you complain, keep it to the most appropriate way of complaining possible. Like, man, remember back in the older seasons when this was better, but you don't say it like that. You say it like, man, remember back when they had footholds? That was nice.
Right. Exactly.
It's just
remember
like,
when this challenge went for more than 5 minutes? Yeah.
Every season we remove half an inch from the foothold. Eventually, the foothold will be so far removed, Rebekah, it'll actually start going outward.
Oh, that could actually be helpful though.
That would be so dangerous if the foothold ended up being a foothold that went outward instead of inward because of how much of it they've removed.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Eva wins immunity. By the way, the moment I saw the poll, I'm like, if Eva gets there, she wins. She just has that body type that fits it so perfectly. Like being buff here is not the goal. Just being athletic, I think, is the better way of looking at it. Athletic.
Yeah. And also I do think like to some extent, like I wasn't super surprised that Joe and David like fell out of the challenge so quickly because they're so big. Like this challenge is just harder for them. So I think, if you're a smaller person who's super athletic, I mean, this challenge was built for Eva. Like, I agree with you 100%.
Well, Eva wins. We then, did I not take enough notes? They go out to camp, right? Chrissy and Kyle go out to camp and they say they need to go for Joe. Did they not look for an idol or anything?
I didn't see them looking for an idol at all.
Seems like a missed opportunity. Or if they did, it didn't get shown because it doesn't matter. The ball journey takes far too long. Terrible TV. That's what my notes for that 20 minutes of television that we watched. Horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous. The Jenga last season wasn't much better, but at least I could keep up with like what was happening. And in this case,
this one's too complicated.
This one, like if I was there playing it, I would get it. And like I would get how to play, but like, it's not good TV. It's terrible TV.
Yeah. Because with these types of challenges, because I think this was a new thing we'd never seen before. I don't remember ever seeing this before.
It seems familiar, but I don't know if I saw it here or on another show, frankly.
It's one of those things that like, because I've also mentioned in the past that like some challenges are too simple or whatever, but it's like, I don't know, sometimes it's so complicated that it's like I can't really follow what they're saying. I mean, I'm following like the dramatics of it, of like Kamilla and Mitch working together to get Star to lose her vote, but like, I don't know. Yeah, I just wasn't super invested in this.
Shauhin read the entire note that said how to play the game, just to cut to Kamilla in a confessional, repeating the same exact thing 5 seconds later, like almost word for word, like she was reading the note on camera. And I'm like, we just heard this. Are they like, that's how could they already know it's that hard to keep up with, that they keep over explaining over. Like, I get how the game works. It's just not fun to watch. It is not enthralling. There's like, I would have rather them gone on the journey and had to hang on to another pole or something. I mean, that would have been infinitely more entertaining. That would have
been fun.
Like,
that would have been fun.
Yeah, the journey like has them circling Mana Island or whatever it's called. They circle Mana Island, Rebekah. Track me here. Everyone else leaves, go back to the camp, whatever. They go on their reward. Jeff stays at the challenge. The 4 people go on their journey. They circle around the island, come back, and their note has led them back to the immunity challenge area where they have to hang on the pole, and Jeff's the only one there to watch.
That's funny.
And they're like, that's the ultimate budget Survivor. They just reuse the beauty challenge for their journey.
Just reuse it immediately in the same episode. As soon as
everybody leaves, like all the cameramen are still there and everything's they didn't have to like get up and move or anything.
That's so funny.
And like Jeff's like, you're here for your journey, and the journey's to hang on this pole. Like, oh, okay. All right. At least by the way,
made the holes taller and there's no footholds.
It would have
so dangerous.
I think we can all agree that would have been infinitely more entertaining to watch that ridiculousness play out than to watch them play this stupid ball game.
Yeah.
This was
the
dumb.
only thing with this game is like, depending on who was on this journey, again, we got a little strategy of like Kamilla and Mitch did kind of have to play or show their cards a little bit, in the sense that like it was pretty obvious that Kamilla was targeting Star to like lose her vote. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because Star is like not in a position to like cause a ruckus about this. And also like the vote tonight was unanimous anyway. So like Star not having a vote was really inconsequential, and like no one was targeting Star. So like, yeah, none of this really mattered ultimately. I mean, yeah, maybe it would in some situations, like, but then also even like last season when Caroline lost her vote, I wasn't happy about that either, because it was just like, all right, just ruining strategy for the heck of it, you know? But anyway.
Yeah. What a dumb journey. All right. Eva gets to scroll out the reward, and it said that, so I thought it was me that night, but that night they're going to tribal. So my question is, for those who watch that, what if Eva hadn't found it, like the person who won immunity therefore was guaranteed to be there the next day? What if like Joe, David, or Mary had found it and one of them got voted off with it in their pocket? Do you think Survivor rehides it, Rebekah, the very next day? Because like, we already set this up, we're doing it. No limited
really
advantages here.
Yeah. I mean, I think they might have to present it in a different way. But yeah, I mean, I guess if they had something set up in a different location, yeah, you have to figure out how to get someone over there. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we're going to see it next episode. Kind of, I think the only time I can think of where an advantage has been like, hey, you'll find out in the next episode, like what it is. Like, interesting in that aspect, but also at the same time, it's like, yeah, you have to survive this tribal. So luckily the person who won immunity found it.
Right.
But yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. It sounds like something that maybe we've seen back. I think the last time we saw anybody getting an advantage at night. And yes, eviscerate me in the comments if I'm wrong about this as usual. But I believe it was Dave versus Goliath when Davey went out in the forest and there was like a thing he had to do. And that was like an interesting one-off. I would actually really love if they just did an immunity challenge at night. And I know that requires more work in terms of lighting and everything. And that's why they don't do that, especially with their limited amount of days. But like, man, those night challenges, there's something special to watch. Like there's something different.
Yeah.
Because it happens so rarely. There's got to be some sort of simple challenge they could set up that they could do at night. Like holding hands on the heart idol kind of thing.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's like, it's so thematic. But again, Survivor's limited budget means that apparently their creativity is also limited. So that's how that works.
That is how that works.
That's how that works.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yep.
The more money you have, the more creative you can be. Everyone knows this. Yeah. And those who are creatives are like, actually, it's not how it works. Yeah, I know. All right. So Eva gets to scroll through reward. David wants Kamilla out, presents this to Joe and Eva. Joe tells Kyle about the Kamilla plan, and Kyle's like, what? Why Kamilla? I like, it's okay. It's okay. But like, why Kamilla? Kyle's so defensive about Kamilla that.
Yeah, he did not play this cool at all.
Even David, who's not, in my opinion, the most aware, he's average awareness. Okay. Like average awareness, amazing muscles, average awareness. Picked up immediately that Kyle's Judasing them. He's like, oh no, Kyle is connected with Kamilla. Like there's no, like, why isn't Kyle just agreeing to this plan? Like if Kamilla's not with us, then why can't we vote her off? Kyle's like, why would Kamilla? And it's like, oh dude. Yeah. We called it though. We said, like Kyle said he was going to be the Judas of this tribe a couple episodes ago of this alliance. And it's not the way he planned on Judasing the alliance, but man, he is it's because of this split about like, they could have just voted off Kamilla tonight, but because Kyle is pushing so heavily against it, like I think Joe would have folded and voted Kamilla if Kyle was in on voting off Kamilla. he'd be like, all right, we'll vote off Kamilla. But because Kyle's so against it, of course, Kyle's saying what Joe wanted to hear, which is let's get rid of Chrissy. Joe's like, I agree with you, Kyle. Even if he didn't really agree with him. He just wanted Chrissy gone because Chrissy said his name.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're in Kyle's position, like, there's a couple ways you can play this. And I think one is to try and put the vote on someone else, but, like, you can't be too defensive about it. Like, it can't be that he was so anti-voting Kamilla that it was suspicious, but, like...
You wouldn't even consider it as an option.
Right. Yeah, I think what you have to do is you have to, like, talk through all the options with people. And I did think he had at least somewhat of a right idea when he said, I need to talk to Joe and like convince him that Chrissy is going after him, which she was. And so like just basically go after Joe, who is a leader in this alliance, and convince him that he's in danger tonight if he doesn't take care of this other problem that's not Kamilla. And you keep Camilla's name out of your mouth. Like, you don't talk about her. You're just talking about this other threat. I think
it's
that's
like Will Smith to Chris Rock. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. Yeah, you keep Camilla's name out.
Yes.
Kyle's like, keep Camilla's name out of your mouth. Slap.
Exactly. Yes. So, yeah, I think that's one way you could play it. The other way is, I mean, at some point you do have to realize, like, this is an individual game. And as much as I love, from the audience perspective, I love this secret covert alliance that we've got going on with Kamilla and Kyle, but like at some point Kyle does have to like decide, is that really what's best for his game? Because he does have a really good 6 strong alliance, and maybe he doesn't feel like he's in the top 2 or 3 of that alliance, and so that's fair. Maybe he does need to keep Kamilla around,
but he never says that. He just says,
he doesn't say that.
Kamilla, I gotta save Kamilla. I got like throwing his life away for Kamilla, dude. Like, was she your wife?
Like, now he's caused this big upheaval, and he has one really strong like alliance member with Kamilla, but it's like, is that going to be enough to get him to the end at this point? And I don't know if it is or not. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Well. I understand that they're close, and by losing Kamilla, Kyle feels like he loses a trusted ally. I know somebody's gonna actually be on that. But at the same time, he's just like so defensive. That if David was like, he should have heard David out, and like, you know what, that's a good possibility. Would it be smarter to do Kamilla next time and do Chrissy this time? Like, he didn't go about it that way. He's like, give me like 20 minutes to think about it, bro. And David's like, what? This is like you're not because David's like, you're not even considering it. It wasn't that he didn't immediately agree to it. He just didn't even consider it. Kyle like was not considering it. He was like, so like I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna be on Survivor, you have to be prepared to hear everything. Like, nothing should sound like it's out of left field to you, unless something's like out of left field because Survivor planned it, like disadvantage. Like, that's okay. I've never even thought about disadvantage. But in terms of like people presenting plans to you, nothing should sound out of left field. You should always be like, that's interesting. That's really, wow. I hadn't, or like, you really want to like buy time. Like, I hadn't really thought about it like that. Like, huh. Okay. And then like have them talk through it to you. Like, and if like Dave's like, no, it's just simple. Like, we just vote Kamilla because she's not in our alliance. Like, you know what? Okay. But Chrissy's also not in our alliance. Could we do like, does it need to be Kamilla first? Like, it's like, there's so many ways going about this. It's like less obvious than, give me like 20 minutes to think about it. Like, Kyle's like, could spontaneously combust thinking about Kamilla going. Anyways.
And it's so funny because like we've seen him and Kamilla in stressful situations before, and I thought that they played it really cool.
Yeah.
But he did not play this cool at all.
Kamilla,
and I don't know if that's just
cool,
like,
apparently.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just like evidence of, being this far in the game and he's tired and, hungry and like all of this. So like, I know there's a lot more going on, but yeah, it was just like, yeah, like you said, Kamilla, I think she played it way cooler when, they had that conversation later in the episode. And yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, hopefully Kyle can recover from this, but honestly don't have a ton of hope at the moment.
I mean, Kamilla found out it was her, or that it could have been her tonight, and notice how she didn't overreact.
Yeah. Because if she had overreacted, especially at Tribal, I don't know. I mean, based on what we saw, it could have flipped back around and she could have gone home. So her playing it cool might have saved her game tonight. Yeah.
Just if you ever go on Survivor, those listening, just don't spontaneously combust if somebody presents your number one as an option. Like, just that's not a good idea. It did not take a genius to figure out that. And of course, that's like Dave next episode, like, oh. And then Joe, of course, like knows how his demeanor's changed. Of course, it's all a connection to David, I assume, is that what he means when he says that. And it's like Joe's just leading into whatever people want to hear. You could tell when Joe's a really good listener because you notice how he didn't have as much resting concern face this week as he did like resting interested in what you're saying face, which is a good face to have. At least that's what I noticed. And Joe did a really good job of hearing people and like seem like he's agreeing with them. Even he's just nodding his head, not saying anything, you know, really good listener, that guy. I can tell why he's going to win. Just want to throw that there. He's playing everybody great, and the jury's going to vote for him because even if Joe didn't agree with you, you had no idea.
Yeah.
You had no really. You're like, actually, Joe just kind of like looked at me and positively and nodded his head. Did he really agree? Like you're on Ponderosa, like, did I get screwed by Joe? I don't think so. Whereas like David's openly at Tribal, like, what, Chrissy? I can't along with those strong guys. What? Is that offensive to you? Like that's not how you handle the jury. That's bad.
No.
That's bad jury
management. And even Kamilla called him out on that in front of everyone. Like, I mean, she didn't say him directly, obviously, but she was like, some people here, David, are not, doing good jury management.
And here's the thing, like David's not wrong. He's not wrong. Why can't all the strong people get together and make an alliance? Why is that not okay when other alliances have been perfectly fine? But at the same time, it's the way he's talking about presenting it. And it's like, just listen to Chrissy's opinion. You already know she's being voted out because you've already flipped from voting off Kamilla to her, and just like take it in stride and just let her talk about it and vote her off. Don't be offended by it. And he wasn't overly offended, but he was just a little bit offended enough to be like, it's like he's being antagonistic. It's kind of like me, just a little antagonistic. I got to check myself, just a little antagonistic. So
yeah. And I think kind of like you were saying, there's maybe a little bit of a lack of awareness from David in that moment. Sorry to say something bad about David, but
it's so hard to say anything negative about him. It hurts my head to go left to right. It really does.
But yeah, I think he's just like not like the reason that Chrissy was so upset that alliance was happening is because she wasn't in the alliance and she felt on the outs. And so I think like if you're in David's shoes, you can kind of see that and empathize with that and try and manage that jury vote, because at the end of the day, if you have the numbers, it doesn't really matter if certain people feel on the outs. Like you just need to make sure that they're not mad with you personally,
Every morning when I wake up, before I put on my makeup, I say a little prayer for David, forever and ever. Anyways, that's from another romantic comedy from the 90s. All right. So, which is funny because the guy that I actually think Julia Roberts should end up with that movie, it's a different Julia Roberts movie. He's gay and he's the one that sings that song. And I'm like, she should have ended up with him. Too bad he was gay in the movie. Because like the person she actually wants to get with, I'm like, I don't really care about him. But what about the gay best friend? She should have ended up with him. Which movie is this? I forget. It's a Julia Roberts movie and it stars the guy who plays the bad guy in Inspector Gadget. That's how I remember him.
Someone will have to tell us in the comments.
He's so much fun. No, it's a movie where I'm like, she ended up with the wrong guy, except the guy in the movie was gay, so she could not have ended up with him.
Gotcha.
But it was like, I don't know. It has its moments. Anyways, nice. Somebody will let us know in the comments what movie that is. All right. So too long didn't read. We go to Tribal. David has bad jury management, though he has good points. It's just the way he's presenting him is bad. So if this was a story video, that's where I would put dumb on screen, but I'd be like, he's right. He's just the way he's presenting it is wrong.
Just going about it in a dumb way. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I will say that David discovered the Judas, which was very much a nodding my head vertical moment when he realized that Kyle, like it took David out of the group to realize that Kyle was the Judas of their group. Like it wasn't.
That's true. I don't think we heard anything from Dave or from Joe or from anybody else about that. Yeah,
Mary said when they were talking about who to vote off, she's like, "Where's Shauhin at?" And I'm like, "Was he on Journey?" I bet you he was doing his confessional time or whatever at the time. Remember when Rome told us a few weeks ago? He's like, "Yeah, if you don't see somebody in the conversations, could be because they're off doing their talking to the producer confessional time." That's probably.
I was wondering about that
would he not be there? Right.
Yeah, when they had you're talking about the conversation with like the strong alliance.
Yeah.
And it was like five of them minus, Shauhin. Yep.
Yeah. He's probably off doing his confessional time. That's the only thing that makes any sense because he's over there having to explain the stupid journey in 15 different ways so that the show can maybe present it as something that makes sense.
Read the rules again.
Yeah, can you read the rules again? Because it's going to be such compelling television to hear the rules 20 times and watch people put balls into chutes. Oh, brother. All right. So,
oh, man.
Yeah. Kyle tells Kamilla that they're gunning for her. Joe wants Chrissy out just because she mentioned his name. And he says we'll get Kamilla tomorrow. I did tell Mary, I'm like, dude, if Kamilla went tonight, that would be exciting for winner analysis because like I feel like she's destined for the end game at the moment. But no, of course it's Chrissy because we figured out the season. But here's the thing,
even going into next week, like there's so much going on between Kyle and David and like all of that. I think Kamilla is honestly out of the woods for the moment.
Oh no, I feel like next week might be David's week, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's going to be, this might be the last week I put him on the winner analysis thumbnail because I've been using him every week I can, basically.
That's so funny.
Gotta take advantage of my limited David time. David will miss you. Don't go. David, have my baby. All right. Gotta take advantage of the limited time I can just like, anyways, I hope he's on 50 for real after he gets voted off next week.
Dude, that would be awesome.
I really do.
That'd be great.
I truly do. I think I don't think he'll play better. I just think he'll be fun. I mean, if he plays better, great. I just can't imagine without having seen your season on TV. Every time I feel like somebody plays the second time, they haven't seen their season. It does. I mean, then again, 50 hasn't filmed yet. 49's filming right now. So I guess he is watching a season. Yeah. Whenever you watch somebody play back to back, they tend to play exactly the same. And it's because they didn't get to, like, Amanda plays on Micronesia. She didn't watch China. So she kind of plays the same thing. Russell Hantz plays the same. Malcolm Freeberg played the same. I think that part of Pearl Islands had aired. Same with China. Part of China had aired. Part of Pearl Islands had aired, but Rupert is not going to change. It didn't matter. Rupert could watch all of Pearl Islands. He wasn't going to change how he played. Amongst other people, I think Zeke played the same way across 33 and 34. Michaela played the same way 33, 34. Everyone else who played back to back, like you could just tell, like it's the same person back to back times. It takes a little reflection to improve. So,
I liked when Joe said he was a duck at Tribal Council.
10 out of 10. Shauhin over Joe.
That was really good. Yes.
All right. Let's move on to Survivor 50 voting. Let's talk about whatever order you want to go in, Rebekah. What are the questions we have this time? And I'll put them up on screen for those who are on YouTube.
Yes, that would be helpful, especially for this first one, because the first one is voting on the style of necklace that we want for the immunity idol, I guess. And they're kind of hard. Like both of them are birds. So I don't know. It's probably most helpful to like look at the images, but I like the one that's like a phoenix where like the wings are
option
going around
B.
It's option B. Yeah.
Same.
Like the wings are going around. I think that was cool. That's probably what I'm going to vote for. But they're both, they're immunity necklaces.
Yep. They didn't give us a lot of options here, just two, but I'm also voting option B. Again, if those listening, you care, pick what you want. But if you're like, I don't care, pick option B. It's what we're pushing. Pick option B if you do not care, slash you're on the fence. I think option B just looks better. Like option A looks like the phoenix is almost like in like a little symbol, maybe. I don't know if that's still the same.
Sure.
Bird, but it looks like a little phoenix versus like the whole thing's a phoenix. Pick the whole thing's a phoenix, obviously. Like this seems like a slam dunk. This is like, do you want the live reunion in LA? Like, it's not that obvious.
I don't know if it's quite on that level. I feel like yes, it is.
If option A wins, I'd be surprised.
Same. Yeah. It is also interesting. It's kind of it seems like we've got a bird theme going here. I don't know if that'll carry across. I assume it'll carry across into other design elements, but
I was hoping for a hands theme since it's literally in the name of the season. But no, we're going with a random animal instead because that makes more sense. What if every like the immunity necklace should have been like a pair of hands wrapped around the immunity necklace? Rebekah, track me on this, okay? The immunity necklace it's a necklace, and then on it are two hands. And those hands, the backs of the hands are facing us, the audience. The front of the hands are on the person's chest.
So the immunity necklace is strangling the person who won.
You have it in the wrong location. It's not around their neck. The hands are on their chest. It's in the hands of the fans, Rebekah.
Oh, I don't like that.
So when David wins immunity, the fans with their hands can feel his pecs.
And it's just like on the like in the hands, it's like a camera. It's like a GoPro.
No, I didn't say that. I was just saying like it's two big hands hanging off a necklace, and it somehow no matter who is holding it, the hands are on the chest, no matter who. So view that as you will. I'm viewing it as what if David wins and the hands are on his pecs. And I'm like, yes, this week in the hands of the fans are David's pecs to fit the theme of the season versus a phoenix.
All right. So the next thing
Rebekah,
we get to
you love
vote
that idea.
for-
You just can't admit it out loud. All right. What's the next question?
I don't love. Okay, the next thing we get to vote for is tribe supplies.
Oh.
So option A is to give the tribe their camp supplies when they hit the beach at the very beginning of the game. And option B is to make them earn their camp supplies. So doing something like sweat versus savvy or whatever. I'm assuming they don't specify, but just, making them earn their supplies.
What do you think, Rebekah?
For this one's hard. I think, again, because it's all returning players, I really just want as much as possible for them to just be able to all talk to each other. Just let them like go off into groups based on who they want to talk to.
Yeah,
so I'm going to vote for A. I'm going to vote for A, just give them their camp supplies, because I don't want to see like two people go off and like, it's this whole thing of like, oh, who's volunteering to like whatever, try and earn the supplies, or nothing like that. I just want them to be able to build a shelter and have conversations. So that's my opinion. I guess I feel pretty strongly about it. But
I'm in
wait,
the same
what about
boat
you?
with you, because the show spends zero time showing them struggle at camp anyway. So why bother? Why
Right.
give them camp supplies? Because we don't even show them actually surviving on the island. Even though I know, and you know, Rebekah, and those listening know, they're out there, they're suffering. Even though things are happening faster now than they used to, they're still out there suffering. They're still on the islands, but we get zero time spent watching them suffer. God forbid. The episode's got to be 3 hours for that. I guess that happens at all. So we don't see it. Why do we care if they have camp supplies if we can't see them suffer on TV, right? And I know it's a weird sentence to say out loud, but like, hello, we're watching Survivor. So if they're not going to suffer on television, then just give them the camp supplies so that their lives are easier and that they'll actually interact and play the game. And I feel like the easier you make their lives on the island, the more they're going to want to play the game.
Yeah.
Frankly, that's why I say give them rice, give them the camp supplies. I do not care about that if you're not going to show it. You don't even show it anyways. So just give them the stuff and let them flip and play Survivor. And I want to, exactly as you said, I want to see more interactions with people. I don't really want to see them go, oh man, I can't make a fire because you don't have my flint. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. It's not dangerous anymore. It's boring. Even if it is dangerous, it's boring. It's just it's not very dangerous if I'm bored. Oh man, remember when I put the balls in the chute? Oh no, I got a red ball. It's so dangerous. All right. So anyways, yes, I'm voting for give them camp supplies. If you're on the fence, vote for that. If you are against it, vote however you want. I always say that, vote however you want, but if you're on the fence, you're like, what? I don't really care. Then I encourage you to vote for camp supplies so they can just play Survivor. But let them build shelters and play Survivor. Like, it's fine. Yeah. And Heroes vs. Villains, they were gifted bananas. Where do those bananas come from? Get real. Where do the chickens come from? Oh, there's just 3 chickens at that one. Sure there were. Like, right. We all know what was really happening. All of a sudden, season 19 Samoa, chickens not to be found had to be given to them in a reward. Next season, there's just chickens on the same beaches somehow. Yeah. All right. Anyways, my point is just give them food, give them camp supplies, let them play Survivor for the returning season.
Maybe that could be leading into the third thing that we get to vote on. Maybe that could be one of the twists. The twist is that we just give them food. They get Applebee's every day. The twist is we just let them play Survivor and we stop doing twist every episode. Yeah. What a twist. Shocking. Jeff said, Rebekah, I don't have the source on this one. He has done so many interviews that I do not have the source, but I'm sure somebody else can source this. Jeff said that he does not look forward to, and this is paraphrasing, I may be interpreting a little bit. He does not look forward to, or he's scared to. It's so dangerous for him to look at the results of the poll because he's afraid of what people will pick. And I'm like, yes, this supports what we were saying, which is that he will never just let us vote yes or no on idols because he doesn't want an option for no. There can't be an option for no. Right. Rare, limited, dynamic, strategic. Like, what do these words mean? Like, there's no actual definition for them in Survivor definition. Like, there's a Webster Dictionary definition, but come on now. Webster Dictionary does not say rare means how many advanced, just says nothing like that. Right. What does limited mean to Jeff? I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. So give Jeff the least amount of control possible is what I'm saying. Like, as weird as that is, like, let's for once take as much control away. Just let people play the dang game. Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, and at least in theory, that's what this is. I am prepared to be disappointed, though, and us watch 50 and Jeff be like, guess what? The dynamic one was chosen. I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, guess what? We wanted maximum advantage. Everyone voted for everything I wanted. And I'm like, hello, darkness, my old friend. But at least I will say that at least they gave us a chance to vote, you know? Yeah.
I
turns
truly
out
do.
Jeff also got to vote, and his vote, he got like, 50,000 votes or whatever. Yeah. Whatever it is.
The weight of his one vote is like outweighs everyone else's. No, I really do think they're going to abide by the poll results. I think it would probably be a legal matter otherwise. I don't know for sure on that one. But it is a game, and it's a game show. They have to have like a standards of practice person and everything. So I'm sure they're going to abide by the poll results, but you better believe that if Jeff gets what he wants, he's going to be like, yeah, I knew you guys agreed with me. But if he doesn't, he's going to present it as like, well, this is what you guys wanted. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I guess
we going to
we'll
get sad,
this.
Jeff? I don't, oh man.
Just like this season, you didn't want advantages. So we did limited, which means 1 an episode instead of 5 like I wanted.
It's like, fine, you guys hated all of my ideas. It's fine.
Jeff's like laying in bed. He's like, oh, he's like making like noises. He's like, oh, nobody wants my advantages. Oh,
he's just laying in a luxury hotel bed in Fiji, just crying himself to sleep.
5-star resort, crying himself to sleep with the $8 million a year he makes. He's like, it's only $5 million after Obama takes it.
Oh man.
Hey, Kenzie, who won 46, posted that on Instagram. Did you see that? She posted.
I sent that to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Great. Of course you saw it then. Yeah. Cause then I commented on it and she's like, it was the scene of her crying and she's like, me having to pay my taxes on my winnings. And I commented, I'm like, just like Jeff Kent said, it's only $600,000 after Obama takes it.
That's so funny.
Got a bunch of likes on that one. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What's new on Patreon? As always, these podcasts are early and ad-free on Patreon. Truly, honestly, with the YouTube AI adpocalypse, AdTube, man, is horrendous right now. The way that they're forcing the ads to be like, they're picking where the ads go and how frequent they are. And it's just insane. It's like, I have no control. It's what it feels like. I feel like I have no control. So anyways, if you want to support the channel and get these podcasts with no ads, I greatly appreciate it on Patreon. Truly, I really do. Like, I'm glad I don't have to go begging to sponsors and accepting sponsorship deals that we don't want to make ends meet. So thank you all. We are all currently on Patreon. Everyone's voting for the Karamoan story videos, the 5 story videos for that one. Right now, there is like, of course, Cochran as the winner is guaranteed, but the other, like, it is a tight race between who's going to get the other 4. Like, it is literally 1-2 votes between each of them. And I'm like, well, we got like 2 weeks left of voting, so we'll see how this goes. Because usually it's sometimes like a runaway. Like we did South Pacific, like the top 5 was so obvious. But this season's like people are like pushing for certain people. It's like comments, man, get pretty not like heated. Just there's clearly like somebody's like, you better not vote Dawn. Freaking hate Dawn. And I'm like, well, and Dawn's like
strong opinions
right now, like 5th or 6th. I think she's like right in the running. I'm like, oh no. Also, Eliza Orland's video, her Micronesia video, will be on Patreon soon, as well as her Rise, Fall, and Destruction, which will include her time on The Amazing Race. Denise versus Malcolm video is up on Patreon right now for their Philippines. You know, do you think of them as playing together? But at the end of the game, they both tried to cut each other, which kind of makes for an interesting story in my mind. And of course,
definitely.
Coach Rise, Fall, and Destruction, especially with Coach, the way Coach has been posting on Instagram, like, dude, Coach is me at 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he did that one "I'm retired" post. Never, nothing else is really indicating he still will not give a straight answer on whether he's playing or not. You know,
it's kind of sus.
Very sus. At least that'll be one person Jeff really wants out there. Angry and Iconic Survivor Votes is another video on Patreon, along with there's like 5 or 6 others as well. So again, greatly appreciate it. Really do. Makes all the difference. Link in the description. Okay, let's move on to question of the week. This is, I get the question of the week. If you enjoyed question of the week, those listening, that is basically Survivor Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but we're going to have like 20 questions if we do that. So when you vote on it, think of it as 20 question version of this, but with editing and music and whatnot. So it's gonna be way more than what you get here. But all right, Rebekah,
it's not gonna be like 16 hours like this podcast has been.
I cannot believe we're already up to 27 hours. All right, Rebekah, man. What's the score right now?
All right, the score right now, believe it or not, is I have 4 points and you have 3 points.
I'm still at 3.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm doing bad this season.
This is crazy. Which also is partly because people have been sending me questions to ask you, and that's been super helpful. And like, they've been some really good questions. So
all people send me are video ideas that will take me like 6 or 7 business days. I'm serious, dude. Like this past week I get emails like, hey, what about this? What about this? Since like every idea presented to me is like, number one, like patrons are going to pick no matter what I do. But they're all like ideas where like, this will take like 7 business days. So like a week, like I don't work 7 days a week. I work 5 days. So like, unless you're Tony, we're like, anyways, get the Tony Jeremy debate of what's a week, right? It's like 7 business days. I'm like, and they're like, this one would be super easy. And like, they're not being ironic. And I'm like, that would take like 7 days to make. Like, that's not super quick and easy to make that video idea. Anyways, I don't ever respond like that. I'm just like, anyways, you get good emails, my point. And my emails are all like, tell me do more work.
If it makes you feel any better, I've also gotten some like just scam emails.
Have you gotten any emails asking for your hand in marriage? Because you were supposed to do that.
That's true. None yet.
No. No. We're also not saying to send Rebekah creepy emails. We're just joking for those thinking that this is legit.
I'm not afraid to block people.
Rebekah's hand in marriage is not actually on the table. All right, Rebekah.
No.
So let's start with your question. And what is your number one? Did someone send you this question?
Yes, someone did send me this question.
Okay. Who is it?
So this was submitted by Joe, not Joe from Survivor, different Joe. He also, can you imagine? He said his YouTube name is Summation Gathering.
Okay, so Joe. Well, since your question got picked, email me. My email's in the description, and you will get a free month of Patreon. All right, Rebekah, shoot me this question.
All right. So when Say was voted out, she tied the record for receiving votes at the most attended consecutive tribal councils at 6 tribals in a row.
All right.
So the most consecutive tribals that she attended.
Yeah.
Who did she tie for this record?
Okay.
And so multiple choice. So your options are A, Rory from Vanuatu, B, Angie from Palau, C, Karishma from Island of the Idols, or D, Adam in Winners at War.
What tribe was Angie on in Palau? I think Angie was on the Oolong tribe, which lost, but I don't remember her being picked on every episode. Though that's so left field. Probably it's her. Who was the very first option? Was who again? Rory from Vanuatu. I don't think Rory went to 6 tribals in a row before getting voted off. Though I could be remembering that incorrectly, because I think it was like back and forth between the women and the men. But I could be wrong. Vanuatu's been a little while. What a great season, by the way. Great season for those who haven't seen it. Third option was who? Third option?
Karishma from Island of the Idols.
See, she got a ton of votes. I don't know if they were all consecutive, though. And who's my last option?
Last one is Adam in Winners at War. And also, just to clarify, yeah, these are all
consecutive.
Consecutive tribals that they attended.
Right. I understand that's the question. I understand it's not just consecutive tribals. It's just the ones they attended were consecutive. Okay. This is a good question. It's not clear cut off the top of my head. Angie just feels so out of left field, but that's only because I think about Rory, not as often as David, but Rory lives rent free in my head with his lines. The funny, you pick a season 9, season 10, then you do 39 and 40, and it's like, mother flipper. I want to say Karishma based on the sheer number of votes she got, but I don't know if they were consecutive, and I don't know how many tribals she went to because I try not to think about 39 as much as I can. It's such a trash season.
Right.
I'm going to pick Karishma because I don't feel great about anybody else.
Okay. The correct answer is Rory from Vanuatu.
Okay.
So
I didn't realize
you were close.
He went to 6 tribals. Okay.
Yeah, he did. I think he got votes at every tribal he went to, so I think he just went to 6.
That's Sarge. Yeah. That's nonsense. It's classless. It's classless, Sarge. I love Rory. He could never come back because he would be too self-aware, but he was so funny this first season. He was a 10 out of 10 character. All right. I can't believe he still stuck at 3 points. All right. Your question, Rebekah. Yes. Which season of Survivor introduced the advantage menu? Your options are A, Haramoan, aka season 26, B, Cambodia, season 31, C, Game Changers, season 34, or D, Winners at War, season 40. Which season introduced it the first time it ever appeared?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Sorry, what was the first option again?
Season 26, Caramoan.
That's kind of my gut instinct, but that's so early. I'm trying to remember. Like, I'm pretty sure, I definitely remember it in Winners at War. Pretty sure. Questioning it now. I'm gonna go with option A. That's final answer.
That is incorrect. The answer is
dang.
Game Changers. Now, for your follow-up question, this occurred on the Exile Island boat in Game Changers. The boat this person went to. Who was on the Exile Island boat? And you do not get multiple choice because you need to name both people who are on the boat.
Ooh. Oh boy. Okay.
Think Caramoan, since you were already there, weirdly enough. Think Caramoan for one of the people, but yeah.
I honestly have no idea. I do not remember the boat at all. I don't remember this. I need to rewatch this season.
The answer is Cochrane and Debbie.
Okay.
Debbie is on the season. She gets sent to Exile Island because the tribe swap happens and she's the odd man out. And they're like, "You're going to Exile Island." She's like, "Oh no." She ends up on a boat with food. And then, of course, the most random twist out of left field is Cochrane. Cochrane appears on a little boat and he's like, "Hey Debbie, let me give you some advice on how to play the game. Also, here's this advantage menu." And she got to pick an advantage from the advantage menu.
I totally remember this now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a crazy thing at Cochrane just like randomly shows up. That's how much Jeff
so
loves
iconic.
Cochrane. Yeah. Jeff wanted Cochrane on Winners at War, but he turned Jeff down. Jeff was like, midnight. He's like, "Oh, it's only $5 billion after Obama takes it." All right. So neither of us gained a point. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Great job, everybody. All right, let's move on to
questions.
Winner analysis. Just our top 3 today, but tomorrow, Mary and I will be ranking everybody left in the game. Okay, Rebekah, who is your number 3?
Thought I'd mix it up a little bit this week and have the number 3 person not be a member of the original Loggy. So my number 3 this week is Kamilla, and I think the reason I picked Kamilla is because I know she kind of was like in a sketchy spot this week, but to be honest, like there's so many other things going on right now that I think she's really going to skate by for a while. And she has, I think, decent relationships with quite a few people, not to mention her sort of undercover, alliance with Kyle. So, I mean, realistically, like, do I think that she's winning? I don't know. I think it's pretty clear who's winning at this point.
Sure.
So, I'm trying to I don't know, just based on what we're seeing in this episode, kind of let that influence my top 3. So yeah, I don't know. I like her spot in the tribe right now. I think she's a very smart player. She's a very fun player. I enjoy watching her play. And yeah, I'd be surprised if she doesn't at least make it to top 5 at this point.
I'm with you. Kamilla is also my number 3, so we are in sync on this one. And I'm with you. I feel like she's destined for. I've already called who I think the final 5 are. By the way, I said it. But this is my 4th week in a row now. I think I'm saying it. Top 5 is some combination of Joe, Shauhin, Kamilla, Kyle, Mary. I think those 5 seem like they're the strongest to get to the end. I think once Davey gets voted off potentially next week, which is who I'm going to put votes on fantasy. Mary, I think, is in the clear. I think Mary is only even being presented as a target at all by anybody this week because of David. So I think she'll be in the clear once David's gone. And with that, I think Kyle and Kamilla, they have kept their thing under wraps. And sure, David's, I guess, is going to identify the fact that 2 of them together. We haven't seen anybody else really identify that. And the way it's been presented is David's going crazy. We got to vote off David. Therefore, no one will take David seriously. When David says, Kyle and Kamilla are together. They're together. And he'll go out and people will be like, Kyle and Kamilla are together. And then they'll get to the final 5. That's right. The only person who could have got them out was Gaston, Hercules, whatever you want to call him. Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, David, looking so down in the dumps. It's finally appropriate. I've been waiting all season for it to be appropriate. Yeah, number 3 is for me is Kamilla. I feel like she's destined for the final 5. I feel like she's the smarter one between her duo. I don't know if she makes final 3. That's my thing. I feel like she's like a losing fire kind of situation, goes out at final 5 situation. Mary feels like a final 3 goat to me. If I'm standing by that being the final 5, I feel like Mary's the goat of them, and Kamilla goes out at 5 or in fire, something like that. That's just my gut instinct on if I'm reading who I think's reaching final 5. So we'll see. Watch me be dead wrong, but here we are through week 8, and my top 5 still have not gone anywhere. They're all still intact, and I don't see any reason for them to keep going anywhere. Like Shauhin is not going anywhere. It seems like I don't know. Next week's gonna be like Mitch or David or Star. Loggy, dude, holding it together. Star isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, that is very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, who's your number 2?
All right. So my number 2 is actually Joe this week, which I don't know.
How dare you? That's okay.
I know. Here's the thing. Again, realistically, is Joe winning the season?
Yes.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Absolutely.
I really,
he's won,
I think we've got a lot of hints. But for the sake of winner analysis and just based on what we've seen so far in like specifically this week, but even before, there's just been a couple times where like Joe hasn't gotten his way necessarily, or even like specifically tonight, like there's so much talk about him and Eva being a tight duo. And as much as I do think that both of them are going to go far in this game, like to some extent, I kind of think Eva needs to go for the sake of Joe's game, because like her being in this game, like, yeah, at some point, I mean, they're just so obvious about being such a tight duo that it's at some point people are going to want to vote one of them out. And so I think it's probably going to be Eva, unfortunately. And so once that happens, then I think Joe will be in a much better spot. But yeah, right now, just with the fact that he has such a public like bond with Eva, I think that's actually kind of hurting his position in the tribe at the moment.
I still think Eva's going before him though. I think Eva would be sniped out of the two of them. Just their idol being so public.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I think as long as Eva's in the game is actually hurting Joe's game. Yes, so that's why I've got him at number 2 instead of at number 1. Yes.
I know on paper, maybe it sounds fun that they both go final 3, but it's I don't see that. One of them has to go, and it just seems like who's going to go first? It's going to be Eva. Joe is, and also, how is Joe a target between the two of them?
She's going to be on the jury talking Joe up.
Oh, guaranteed vote for Joe.
Yeah. So
David on the jury, guaranteed vote for Joe. You see what I mean? See how the vote lines up for Joe to win? Like, get these people on the jury. Who do they vote for? Chrissy at the moment, I don't know. Cedric would vote off Justin on the jury if he could. And he would vote for Say to win if he could. If she was, yeah. He's like, I vote for Say to win. Actually, who haven't I voted for right now? Yeah, but anyways,
he's literally walking up to vote, and Say pops out of the bushes, and she's like, Cedric, vote for Joe. And then she leaves, and he's like, oh, okay.
Cedric, vote for Joe. Cedric, vote for Joe. Cedric's no great say. I'll do whatever you say, as always. Shauhin, if he ends up on the jury, votes for Joe. Star ends up on the jury, probably votes for Joe. We're talking about a situation where Joe is not sitting next to Shauhin, though I think it's possible he does. True. I think Joe, there's just a lot of people who I feel like at the moment would vote for Joe. Like Kamilla probably votes for Joe. I don't know though. I mean, depends on who you sitting next to. Like, I feel like Mary is not winning any votes. Cedric ain't voting for Mary because they're not tight like that. I don't know. Joe's winning. All right. So with that, my number 1 is Joe. Your number 2 is Joe, and my number 2 is Shauhin. Your number 1 is Shauhin. So let's talk about Joe a little bit more. Joe just seems to be so perfect. They keep like in everything. They keep presenting as perfect. There's like no flaws. No one's gunning for Joe really. He listens really well. He seems to be really good in his interactions. They give him funny character moments when they don't need to, interesting character moments. They cut to him when they have absolutely no need to give more time with him. Like, it still stands out in my mind. It was like episode 2 when somebody came down to tell him something, and we like spent like 10 seconds with him, and he's like, and we hear his thought process before he goes and talks to Eva, I think. And it's like that stuff is not included unless this person is supposed to be a fan favorite or they're winning. And he could be both. I mean, we all know David's
true.
Everyone nod vertically. Yep, David is our fan favorite, but Joe, second place for fan favorite. Let's be real. David's fan favorite. Everybody knows this. No arguments. I don't see any comments ever. Any comments saying David's not fan favorite. You're out of here, buddy. Yeah, Joe, it's just too perfect. It's so perfect. It's so easy. It's Joe. But your number 1, I think it would be I don't know if it'd be more interesting, but he definitely has more going on in terms of like ups and downs. Shauhin, talk about him.
Yeah. Well, and I think also like just one last thing about Joe is the Zero Confessionals episode, which we talked about earlier in the episode. But that's another thing that's like, realistically, do I think that's going to quote unquote, prevent him from winning the season? No, but it is something that because that's been a rule up to this point, it is somewhat of a factor. So yeah, moving on to Shauhin, like I think he doesn't have any, edit flaws in that sense. Like he's never been skunked for an episode. We're hearing from him constantly about strategy. We don't have as much personal content from him as we do from Joe, which is something that, I'd want to see more of that. At least like
he had a sob story just like Joe and Kamilla.
He did have a sob story. But yeah, I don't know. Like, and some of it is a little hard to tell because there's so much stuff with like Joe and Eva where it's like how much of that is focused on Eva or it's like her story, but Joe is also there, and I think it's like some of that's Joe's story for sure. For sure. But because Shauhin doesn't have anyone like that, we have seen a little bit less personal content from him, I guess.
Also, Shauhin talks up the show, like you said.
Yeah, he talks up the show. So that, very well could be like maybe he's getting a more positive edit because of that. But that being said, he came under a little bit of fire the last couple of weeks, but he's really in a good spot. And I think right now there's so much going on with like Kyle and David. Like no one's looking at Shauhin next week. And there's so many other people to vote out before anyone's going to start looking at him again. I could totally see him slipping his way to the end. And honestly, if he and Joe are sitting in the finale, like in the final tribal, like I think he has a shot to win. He's well spoken. I think he's well liked. I don't think he really has many enemies at this point. So I mean, does he beat Joe? I don't know. It depends. Maybe. Yeah, it depends on if he's able to speak better at final tribal. It'd be interesting
if they're both in the final three. It would be.
I would love that, honestly, because then I think we'd go into the final episode not knowing who's going to win necessarily. I mean, we'll know it's Joe, but like, it's not like super cut.
It's not clear cut. Like I thought Kenzie was winning, but I was like, it could be Charlie in 46. Yeah.
If we end up with like Joe and like, I don't know, Star and Mary in the finale, like that's going to be so boring.
Well, the finale is going to be 5 people, so there should be
true.
A fifth person who should be on the table.
True.
So it's going to be a normal finale, not 2-part finale.
Yeah. But if it's like Mitch and then...
Oh, gosh. It's Joe.
I don't know.
Joe
and
wins.
Kyle.
Yeah. Well...
if that's the final
Kyle's
5, that's going to be...
I guess, but yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping for the final 5 that I say, because at least there's like some contenders in there, like between Kamilla, Joe, and Shauhin. Yeah, for sure. I see a lot of what you're saying. I'm with you. I feel like Joe 1A, Shauhin 1B, but it's a clear 1A, 1B. They're not like they've separated a little bit this week. It's a little bit more than they were last week. Last week they were holding hands. This week Joe's a little bit more in front of Shauhin, but they're still on the same stage. They're still competing for that spotlight. Spotlight being the $600,000 after Obama takes it on stage, and everyone else is like in outside the auditorium up in space. By the way, I tried telling Mary this analogy, which we all know Jeff loves them, and that's why I do analogies, because Jeff loves them. I tried telling her the analogy. She's like, Chrissy's not up in space, and I'm like, what? Where would she be at? And she's like, she's in another country. I'm like, what's the difference? I'm like,
the difference is Katy Perry is in space.
Oh, that's true. I saw that.
And that's a pop culture reference for you right there.
I gotta say, if you ever want to know how much Survivor loves you, by you, I mean just those listening, you all like, what's a PG way of saying this? Giving them a back rub. There we go. That's another way of using your hands for them. You'll see like accounts, even if they've been these accounts on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, have posted like completely false information in the past. Just like unreliable sources. If they are very positive about Survivor all the time, they'll post stuff like, here's a whiteboard shot of something Jeff sent me. And it's like, Survivor 50 is going to be something amazing for the fans. It's like, what is this? Did you make this? Like, is this legit? I think it is because you pinned it. But it's like, like, what is this? This is like, what? Why? Why was this sent to you? You ever like see this stuff and wonder, and you're like, I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say I'm not trying to call out anybody in particular, because it's just like there are many accounts, and I say anything where I'm like, where did you get this from? And then they block me. Because God forbid you ask for a source of anything. Like, where did because I could have written on a whiteboard about how amazing Survivor 50 is going to be and then posted it and nobody would know Jeff didn't send it to me.
Why didn't you? You should do that.
Because I do my absolute best to not lie to everybody. I am a reformed man. I am trying my absolute best to not lie to my audience. Is mostly what it is.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome, America, but in other countries. But like, I don't know. It's just like, if you know what I'm talking about, like there's just accounts where it's like, what is the anyway? So I just like, think the more I've thought about it, more I'm like, man, they really do like when you give them back rubs, All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to your all's questions. There was a lot of ones about David, but I will try to keep them limited because there's only so much you can talk about the man, the myth, the Gaston legend. All right. First question is from some guy. To be fair, strong players historically have been meat shielded. It's not shocking that a lot of them would eventually stick together. They're talking about David, of course. And that's what I was saying is that like David's correct. And like, why is it like wrong for the strong people to get together? We're always used as meat shield. It's just the way it's being presented. And in the context, it's like, that's something you can say to like Joe when you're like banding together with him and Eva, but you can't like say that to Chrissy as you're about to vote her off. It's just like, there's no need.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree. And I think
what are you accomplishing?
It's one of those things where it's like, you don't ever want to appear to be like, I don't know if rattled is the right word or just like riled up at tribal, where it's like, yeah, you gotta like, okay, a great example of like someone who handled this well is Sam last season when Teenie was kind of like freaking out and like talking about like, oh, like Sam, I'm so jealous. Like you were the one who's always picked and like, you're the strong man that like, I want to be or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And Sam just like kind of sat there and like took it, didn't argue, didn't like try and, convince anyone of a different viewpoint or whatever. It's just like, okay, I respect like that's how you're feeling and there's nothing I can do about that, And I think that's more of like how this type of situation should be handled, where like in David's shoes, it's like, okay, Chrissy, I respect that that's how you feel. I don't see it that way. Let's vote. Like you're not going to like, you don't need to convince Chrissy in this moment and you're not going to. And like Kamilla said, it's kind of poor jury management to be arguing that much at tribal. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't like anybody talking negative about David. Okay. He's a precious baby boy. Keep him perfect. All right. Next question's from Maxim. Oh, I said these weren't going to be a lot about David, but I guess they are. Do you think having no milk, this is what happens when I just pick him in a flurry at the beginning of the podcast as we're talking. All right. Maximo says, do you think having no milk for a short period of time got to David this episode? It's possible. Is that why he's turning villain a little bit? Oh, he's just a little agitated without milk. It's possible. Just like, Kyle. Go ahead.
I know multiple people have done this where they just like come to the island and they're like, all right, I am used to smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day and I'm going cold turkey today. That's what David's doing with milk.
And he got a hit of that milk a few episodes ago, but he hasn't had it since.
Sweet milk.
Sweet David. David is 0% of winning the game, says Just Kyle. I agree. Ned Ward says people online were hating on David. I said they weren't all David related. Here I am. Ned Ward said people online were hating on David. Why do people always have it out for the hot popular guy? I don't know, Ned Ward. It's like, that's Rebekah. I think you and I can relate to that.
Yeah, I mean,
why are people always out to get us, Rebekah? As hot popular people.
As the hot popular.
Yeah, as our hot and popular, both of us. Why are all people out to get us?
That's a great question. I don't know.
It's very mean the way they treat us hot popular people. Us, you, me, and David. We're all in the same group. Yeah, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah. Look at that picture at the beginning of the podcast. People were probably like, "Oh my gosh, that's the host," and then they like fell out of their chair or whatever they were doing. All right, yeah. Clash asks, is the reason for Chrissy's bad edit because she was the antagonist to Joe, who we weren't supposed to root against?
Ooh. That's really smart. Yeah, probably. Because Chrissy seems like, honestly, like just kind of a nice, normal person. I mean, yeah, but you're right. The edit was kind of negative for her. So yeah, exactly.
Rebekah, speaking of places people are from, I saw somebody on Survivor Reddit yesterday, one of the days. Obviously, one of the days recently posting how they've made it to the finals of Survivor casting. Even got flown out to LA or wherever. And they said they got cut during finals, and it's apparently they've gotten far a few times. They're like, what should I do? And so I commented, up your sob story and change your location to California and or New York. And it got a lot of votes.
That's funny.
Everyone knows that's the secret to getting cast. If you're not from those two places, you've probably screwed up. If your sob story ain't sobby enough, oof, that's rough.
Yeah.
All right, next question from CK2. I was wondering, when you heard the immunity challenge, were you audibly booing when you heard they were going to break up the teams and that someone will lose their vote? Ah, so scary.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I was yelling at the TV. My neighbors came and checked on me. Yeah.
Were you crapping your pants, Rebekah? It was so scary to hear that they're going to go and play the ball game on the journey. Oh no.
So nervous. Screaming, crying, throwing up. I hope David doesn't go next week, but
he probably is, unfortunately.
He probably is, yeah.
Remember, everyone, if David wins immunity next week, we all nod vertically. Yay, another week of David. Yay. But I don't know. We're not going to get another bicep challenge, I'm guessing. Next week's going to be an obstacle course ending with a puzzle. We're going to be like, oh, so scary. Oh no, the horror I'm experiencing. And Jeff's going to be like, are we down to 10 or 9? What are we down to now?
Ooh, great.
If we're down to 9, are we going to do that stupid thing where it's like, everyone's flipping teams of 3? Teams of 3, everybody.
Yeah.
Remember when they did that a few times? That was annoying.
Yeah, we're down to 9 because we had we had 5 groups of 2 tonight. So yeah,
good point.
Yep.
Oh no, next week's going to be everyone's flipping teams of 3, and God forbid.
Maybe by the finale we'll have a merged tribe. I don't know.
The final 5, just like, all right, I guess we'll have like a regular challenge or like,
oh man,
one person wins immunity and like it's not like mixed up in any way. This is we're doing a limited episode. Yeah, we're gonna do a not strategic dynamic. Bring it on episode. Whatever it was like rare or bring it on. Like,
yeah.
First off, the movie Bring It On is better than any amount of Survivor telling me to bring on more advantages.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I forgot what it's called. It's like, bring it on. Bring what on? It. You bring it. Bring it on. What is it? You just either have it or you don't. You bring it. Anyways. So we thank you all for listening, and we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.